Okay, so we're picking up where we left off on the topic of networking with Khemit Bailey of thecharacterarc.com. And in this segment, we want to talk about the purpose of networking, why it's important, and why it matters. Khemit, what's the purpose of networking?
Yeah, so the purpose of networking, based on what we talked about before, which was that the definition of networking is, building relationships, right? Not gathering leads. So following on from that, the purpose of networking, I think, is to actually, it's not what people think, which is to get information from other people. I think it's about making yourself more useful to other people. And I think that the more useful you are, the more qualified and capable people understand you to be, and the more willing they will be to want to employ you or pass you on to someone else who may be hiring at that time. So I really think the one thing to focus on is going to be your utility, make yourself of use.
Yeah, right, because this is a two-way conversation, right? Like we want to make sure that when we're reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn and we're asking them for 15 minutes of their time, that it's not about me just picking your brain and saying, what's a company like? What do you guys do? How can I get an interview? This, and that. Like, what about the other person? Maybe they're interested in getting to know you, your skill set, your experience, because maybe they have something to gain by knowing you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we want to be mindful of people's motivations. Maybe they want to add somebody that they like on their team, right? Maybe they just want a referral bonus. But either way, you want to make sure that you're representing yourself in a way that is useful to the person that you're having that informational interview with.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's spot on. And I think that when you make yourself useful to people, like not only does it, provide some value to them, which means that they feel that they should reciprocate in some way, it also endears you to them, which follows on from what you were saying in our last video, which was, people need to like you and trust you if they're going to want to work with you. And so it all kind of ties together when you look at it that way. So,
Yeah.
if you look at the definition of it as, gathering leads and then the purpose of it as finding a job, you don't tap into the things that actually help you do both of those things.
Right, right. And an interesting caveat with these informational interviews is that at the same time, you do want to be mindful of the fact that people are motivated to talk about themselves, right? So this is another reason why informational interviewing works, because you're giving random employees at various companies a chance to talk about what it is that they do with somebody who's genuinely interested, right? So their motivations are, it's kind of ego driven almost. Very few of us have our 15 minutes of fame to talk about what it is that we do to somebody who's interested. So if you're listening and you're going into networking conversations, remember how powerful that is to give people a chance to talk about themselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And, that actually is also a trick for getting yourself out of your own head. If you're talking to people in a group setting and get nervous or anxious, especially at networking events, people are nervous because they are looking for something. They do have like this hope that's a little bit fragile. And so they're a little bit more delicate than they'd usually be. And I mean, I've found that when I'm in situations like that, if I stop focusing on, myself, what I'm thinking, what my goals and my aims are, and I actually focus on what other people need or what they are doing or what problems they're having, in a genuine effort to maybe try to help if I can, takes all of that away, and they like you, people like you when you approach them that way.
Yeah, yeah, and really all that requires is a certain level of curiosity and sincerity, right? Um, so this is important to know, because a lot of people that I talk to are reticent to message strangers on LinkedIn because they think, well, isn't that going to be creepy, or will they want to talk to me, or will they be willing to help me out? And I think they often forget that you're actually offering them a gift, right? You're offering them a chance to talk about themselves and
Mhm.
and talk to somebody who's genuinely interested about hearing about what it is that they do and what their company does. So that right there is very powerful. Any final thoughts, Kemet?
No, I mean, I think that's really covers it. You know, if you can take yourself and put yourself in the shoes of whoever it is you're talking to, or you know, dealing with in any given situation, that will give you unbelievably more information than if you know, are constantly thinking about what it is that your goals and aims are in that moment. And so taking that into the networking domain does nothing but good things for you.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, that pretty much covers the purpose of networking. In our next segment, we're going to be talking about the strategy. So you're going to want to tune into this one. This is where the rubber hits the road, and where you're going to gain some real insights into how to make networking actually work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.